Now, tens of thousands of Indian farmers have blocked major highways across the country as they continue their protests against new agricultural laws. The 3-hour blockade has disrupted traffic in many parts of India, but the movement of ambulances and essential services is being allowed. Police have detained dozens of protesters. Well, joining me now from Glasgow, from Charity and Advocacy of Sikhs in Scotland, is Dr. Sharandeep Singh. How much is this whole protest movement getting support for the Sikh diaspora around the world?
Good afternoon, thank you, it's a pleasure to be on. The whole farmers' protest, what started out from the laws passed approximately 6 months ago, has led to a huge global interest in this peaceful farmers' rights movement. During the course of the last 4 months, what we have seen is what started out as a meaningful effort on behalf of the farmers and the farmers' unions to engage with the Indian government to deliberate on these laws which were passed, which really upend the whole infrastructure of farming in India. Has now morphed into a serious question on the legislative competence across India and also the democratic freedoms of citizens in India to protest against certain policies which are enacted.
Well, you say it's been peaceful, but there have been incidents of violence, incidents of farmers being armed, and the government has offered to suspend the laws and has also offered to continue, they've said they're going to continue paying the minimum wage to farmers, haven't they?
So yeah, what we have seen is initially for a period of perhaps 2 months, the farmers and the farmers' union leaders were being stonewalled. When these laws were passed in the summer, there was no consultation for such drastic reforms to the whole market. And a protest movement which encompasses tens of millions of people, yes, there have been a small handful of outbreaks, but the larger outpouring of violence has been on behalf of the police and the state, which has been really trying to crack down on these peaceful protests, and it is that which is concerning many members of the diaspora here in Scotland.
So have you been raising money to send to farmers in India, in Punjab especially?
Well, particularly what has been a part of the engagements of the global Indian diaspora movement has been to support those farmers who are out there in the streets in some of the harshest, coldest weather conditions. And that demonstrates how dearly and how concerned they are about these laws. It is a critical part of their future, and they are willing to spend their months.
So how much money have you raised? Have you raised money to send to them?
We've not personally raised any money, but what we have seen is international aid charities like Khalsa Aid putting out tents, for example, for housing them. They've provided water supplies, and they've even provided massage chairs for them.
What do you say to those critics of this whole movement that say, not all of it, of course, but that some part of it has been infiltrated, organised, taken over by Khalistani separatists, funding coming in from Pakistan, an arch enemy, of course, of India, and that is why you're seeing the Punjabi Sikhs out protesting. You're not seeing so many South Indian farmers protesting.
I'm really concerned to hear you spouting such false propaganda, Geeta.
It's not propaganda, I'm just asking you a question.
It is.
Many questions have been put.
These arguments are a total farce. I mean, I've seen pictures of Greta Thunberg and Rihanna being burned in the streets. Greta Thunberg and Rihanna are being accused of being part of a global conspiracy to break up India, when all they have done is simply voiced and said that the farmers' protest voices should be heard. And these accusations, which the government have fueled to declare these farmers as being terrorists and protesters. I have my family and friends, dozens of people I know involved in small-scale farming in India. They're extremely fearful for their future. This is not about an attempt to break up India. That is absolutely not a feature of these protests. It's simply about how the farmers in the future will be able to engage with the market, how they will be able to market their produce without being sort of manipulated or being taken over by major corporate houses and international players, and their incomes being driven down.
Dr. Sharandeep Singh from Sikhs in Scotland, thank you very much indeed for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, small businesses that took out government loans to keep them afloat during the pandemic are being given more time to